This was the moment where I felt like I was killing my father.
My mind said there's no possible way, but I was already committed.
I felt like I was literally killing my soul. I was murdering my soul.
When I heard you speak and the depth of which those conversations went, it captured my heart.
To me, the greatest miracle of life is life itself.
If we ended it right now, that's probably one of the best podcasts we've done. I can say that.
This is a Soak podcast.
Welcome to The Frequency Effect, sponsored by Soak Technologies, where innovation meets human performance optimization. Join our experts as we explore how technology and innovation are used to help you perform at your peak. This is The Frequency Effect.
Hey guys, welcome to The Frequency Effect. We're here with a very, very special guest today. I had not met this particular man ever before in my life, and I've met a lot of people, but I was influenced by him probably the quickest I've ever been influenced by just about anyone that I've met. We are so happy to have a man. When I asked him where he's from, he said everywhere and nowhere. And then he said, let's keep it interesting. So we're going to keep it interesting for you, and join me in welcoming Mr. Kute Blackson. Kute, so glad you're here.
It's a blessing.
Good. Fantastic. I was asking you earlier if you knew Anthony Robbins or had any history with Anthony, because you remind me of somebody who may embrace some of his philosophies, his drive, his personality, his charisma, but I also see the kindness and the thoughtfulness in like a Nelson Mandela. You know what I mean? So I was going to say if Anthony Robbins and Nelson Mandela, but that would get weird. So.
That's good marketing. Good
branding. You heard it first. But no, you really impressed me. Like I told you earlier at breakfast, when I heard you speak and the depth of which those conversations went, it captured my heart. And I said, we've got to have him here. And so we too feel very blessed to have you here with us in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the Soak Studios.
It's a reunion.
There you go.
Yeah, we're just reconnecting.
There you go. Well said.
I had to be here. I'm not sure why. But when Kiki on my team connected with you and said I had a conversation with a guy who just feels a connection and, you just need to feel into this.
Right.
For me, everything I do is intuitive.
Right.
And it didn't make sense. Go to Tulsa.
Right.
Have no idea. Soak. Who are these guys?
Right.
But when there was an energy that she transmitted from the conversation with you, that was a frequency,
right,
that was a vibration that I felt and I tuned into. When I tuned into that, something drew me.
Sure.
And I wasn't sure what it was, but
right,
I knew I had to be here. So I was following that.
Over the next hour and a half, 2 hours maybe, we're going to find out what that was.
Cool.
Are you with me?
Let's go.
Okay, good. I want to start with Kute as a kid. I want to get to know you because we've not talked about any of this.
Yeah, no.
So I want this to be organic. There's zero notes like you and I were talking about. This is going to be all organic, but I want people to really know where you came from, to understand where you are now and the power you have in speaking with people and taking somebody from maybe at the depths and if they're very, very at the depths of their disparity to the heights of overcoming something to really become everything that God made them to be. Like I want to take that whole journey with you. But in starting, growing up, tell me about your childhood, kind of some things that you experienced as a little kid, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Let's go all the way back to there and then lead me through the process.
Well, look, I was born in Ghana.
Okay.
My father's from Ghana. My mother's Japanese.
Yep.
I grew up in London. That's where I feel like I'm from everywhere and nowhere.
There you
but
go.
I thought my childhood was quite ordinary. I didn't think anything unusual about it. You know, I go to school, I come home, I read, I do my homework,
right,
play soccer, ordinary. But my first memories as a young boy was I remember being a chubby kid lost in the crowd and I saw this crippled woman. She picks up the gravel, the sand that this man walks on, wipes it on her face, and stands up. And so week after week, I grew up seeing blind people see and deaf people hear. The same man whose gravel she picked up would look at a person in a wheelchair, and he would say, "Why are you in this wheelchair? You're not sick. Stand up." And the person would say, "But I haven't walked in 10 years. I haven't walked in 15 years. I can't walk." And he would simply say, "Do you believe?"
Right.
Well, yeah, of course I believe. I believe in the power. I believe in God. So why the hell are you sitting down? Stand up. If you really believe, stand up. A person would come in with crutches and hadn't walked in 5 years. They would say, "Throw your crutches away," "But I can't walk." "Do you believe?" Yeah. Well, if you really believe, then prove it. Stand up.
Yeah.
Let the crutches go.
Wow.
And so week after week, I grew up seeing, I guess you could call them miracles, but I didn't think of them as miracles as a young boy. I just saw it as ordinary, everyday occurrences.
That was your norm.
That was my norm. Go to school, brush my teeth, see these people stand up out of wheelchairs. This man was my father. And so he built 300 churches in Ghana, West Africa. At his height, I would say in the 80s, early 90s, probably 1 million followers in his congregation. Had a huge church in London, about 4,000 to 5,000 people every Sunday. And so I was blessed to grow up with this spiritual master, sort of guru, teacher, minister, healer.
Sensei.
I call him an African Sai Baba, because he was a combination of T.D. Jakes, Beckwith, and Les Brown, and Muktananda, giving Shaktipat to people.
Right.
So it was a real blessing. I grew up with a sense that everything was possible, that there were no limits to what was possible, if you believed. Right. And yet also I had a mother who was Buddhist and Japanese, and that's a whole other story how they met. So then I grew up meditating with my mother, and this was a whole seamlessly integrated.
Right.
There was no paradox. It was just seamless. And so it was a real blessing, to grow up with the diversity, the complexity, the simplicity of what they brought to me. And when I was age 8, I started speaking in my father's churches. And that's how my speaking career began.
At age 8?
At age 8, spontaneously. The truth is I was more interested in playing soccer. And, and this didn't go over too well with the congregation. So my father literally forced me into the front row. Said, "My son, you sit here, you don't move."
Right.
And they put 2 bodyguards on me, basically ushers, and they say, "Keep an eye on this kid." And I just fell asleep. And I remember being woken up one Sunday saying, "Your father is calling you on the stage." And sleepy-eyed 8-year-old Kute ran up on the stage, and I had no idea what I was saying. I had no idea, no plan, no nothing. I just stood on the stage, and I remember something came through me that I didn't understand, but words started coming out of my mouth that I didn't plan, didn't understand, but it was just flowing. And people were moved, people were in tears, people were clapping, and I had no idea what happened. And that began a relationship for me at a young age with something. I don't know, call it spirit, call it the infinite intelligence. But there was something there was a channel that opened up at a young age. And it wasn't.
What did your father call it?
He called it the Holy Spirit.
Okay.
That's what he called it.
Okay.
But I didn't understand that.
You didn't know what it was.
I didn't know what it was.
Right.
I was just playing soccer.
How could you?
I was playing soccer, and I was, chasing around, running around outside, and then all of a sudden I stand on stage, and something just came through that was not Kute. It wasn't like little Kute. It was something beyond me.
Right.
So I didn't really understand it, and so that started making me curious to question, like, what is happening? What happens? What's going on?
Right.
And so I started sneaking into my father's office at age 8, trying to, and he had all these books on his bookshelf, 1,000 books, everyone from Zig Ziglar to Tony Robbins to, Muktananda, Sai Baba, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, Madame Blavatsky, the East and Western mystics, Krishnamurti, Osho, and Ernest Holmes, Charles Fillmore, and I just started to try to understand what the hell was happening, the meaning of life.
Right.
And that began a whole journey over the next, I would say, 8 to 18 of reading and exploring and understand. I would basically go to school, do my homework, come home, run, go for a jog, finish my homework, eat, and then probably from like 6 to midnight, I would read and meditate and just try to have these experiences and
How do all these different pieces of the puzzle fit together?
Yeah, and that was my life. And when I was 14, I was ordained as a minister at 14, and I was basically given the mandate to take over my father's organization. And I'll never forget one Sunday, my father announces to the congregation, "My son is my successor. My son is taking over my ministry. He is the man." And everyone in the audience goes crazy, and they're excited, and they're elated.
Did he ask you first?
Everyone was excited but me.
There you go.
I should have been excited.
Right.
We never had a conversation. We didn't talk about it.
Right.
Out of the blue one Sunday. So I'm on stage, 14-year-old Kute. I look at my mother. She looks at me. I shrug. She shrugs. Everyone's looking at me. And I knew in my soul, in my gut, beyond my mind, that something wasn't aligned, that something wasn't true. I couldn't put my finger on why, because I should have been happy. I was working towards this path, yet something didn't fit. And I think at 14, I was too afraid to speak my truth. My fear was, my father's iconic. I mean, he's the man. He's my hero. Even though we weren't close, but he was still larger than life. An African sort of patriarchal male figure. You don't really argue with this man, but he is the man. And I was afraid that if I dared to speak my truth, if I dared to tell him how I really felt, and if I dared to share my questions, that I would lose his love. I would be abandoned. I'd be alone. So I said nothing. And I think, like many of us, I allowed fear to hijack my voice and my truth. Because my entire life was basically being scripted out for me by my father. And that's
almost like a planned marriage.
Yeah, it was planned.
In other cultures,
It was planned.
This is what you're going to do because the patriarch that told you that's what you were going to do.
So I would say for the next 4 years, I tried to fit myself into a box. I tried to make myself be what I thought my father wanted me to be, what I thought the world wanted me to be, what I thought the congregation wanted me to be, what I thought my mother wanted me to be. And in the process, I became miserable, became depressed, huge internal conflict. I was going to church on a Sunday, preaching on Sundays, giving a message, giving inspiration to people, ministering to people, little Kute, 14, 15 years old. But inside, I was dying inside. And I had no one to speak to. I was dying inside. I was confused inside. It's like, why does I felt such a deep desire to be of service to humanity. I would have these visions of reaching millions of people in my lifetime. I couldn't explain it. But I just knew that the path and the structure of the church just didn't quite resonate with my destiny. And I think it was around 17 or so, I felt my soul say, go to America. Go to America, specifically Los Angeles, because all of the authors I'd read about happened to live in Southern California. Tony Robbins, Marianne Williamson, Jack Canfield, Mark Hansen. And so for me, LA, San Diego, this was the Mecca. And it didn't make sense logically because I knew no one in America. I knew no one in the US. I chose not to go to university. I figured that if I wanted to help people with their life, I had to live life. If I wanted to truly, if I wanted to really inspire people and guide people, I needed life experience. And so it made no sense. And I was terrified when I got this download, this guidance. But I think that when your soul guides you, it often doesn't make sense to your mind. It often doesn't make sense to your logic. And I think the soul guidance is not meant to make sense to your mind because it's coming from your soul, not coming from your ego or your logic or your mind, and the mind is conditioned. And so I think when things don't make sense is probably when you're on the right path, but I think many times we're so afraid to follow our soul. We're so afraid to follow the knowing that we feel and that we sense because it's the unknown. And so the mind tries to understand everything. The mind tries to figure everything out. The mind we have this illusion that if we can understand everything, then we can be in control. And if we're in control, then we won't get hurt, And so after wrestling for a few years, 4 years of internal turmoil, I finally surrendered. And I decided to listen to my soul. And that knowing was I had to leave the church. I had to leave my father. I had to go into the unknown, and I had to go to America. And I was terrified. And there's sometimes this illusion that when you follow your purpose and you find your calling, then, self-help sells this idea that it's all roses.
The doors open magically. Everything works out. Yeah.
I think
it's the opposite.
Sometimes when you follow your true soul calling, the shit hits the fan.
Yeah. That's right.
Life breaks down, life falls apart. The real challenges begin that are kind of soul tests that you have to go through in order to grow and evolve. And so in that moment, I wish I could say I was happy, but my heart broke because I knew in my heart I was going to have to break my father's heart.
That was my next question. Yeah. How did you ever get the courage, and did your mother help you prepare?
It took me
to
4
tell your
years, 4 years to muster up the courage.
Sure.
And I had to look into my life, and as I projected into the future, I saw that I could take the expected path and follow my father's script for my life.
Right.
But when I projected into my future, if I was truly honest, as I project 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, I felt like I was literally killing my soul. I was murdering my soul. And I felt the pain of that. It was like this pain.
Right.
And even though the path of following my soul, I had no idea where that was going to lead me. Something about it just felt right. And so that moment, I knew that I had to make a decision. And that decision was to have a conversation with my father, to retire from the church at 18 and have the conversation. And I spoke to my mother, who was...
You understand most people retire at 65.
Yes, I
You're
understand.
18.
18.
Right.
4 years into the ministry.
Yeah.
And here's what happened too. I was about 17, and I was wrestling with this whole, what do I do? How do I face this? Because it felt like a death for me,
Right.
And I remember 17-year-old Kute. There was a spiritual bookstore called, I think it was called Watkins in Leicester Square.
Yep.
And I was such in turmoil that 17-year-old Kute, church boy, right? I go to this bookstore to find these spiritual books, and it's a psychic reading. And I'm like, I need some help.
Right.
And I'm terrified going to a psychic.
Yeah.
So I end up going to a psychic for 30 minutes. Said, look, I feel this calling. I don't know what to do. Oh my God. But my father's going to kill me. He's going to hate me. I'm never going to have a relationship with my father again. I remember this guy saying, everything's going to be okay if you just follow your soul. And I didn't trust it.
Yeah.
I was terrified. But after about a couple more years, I finally said, I don't have a choice. So for me, it really felt like it got to the point where I did not have a choice. And to not follow my soul, to not trust my soul, to not be obedient to my soul would be death. And I think why many of us, we are depressed, we are frustrated, we feel pain, physical pain, mental pain, emotional pain. Our life stops flowing is because we're blocking the flow of life by not trusting and listening to our soul.
Right.
And then I had a conversation with my mother, and I told my mother, Mom, this is how I feel, and I'll never forget. She said, if it's what you truly feel, I support you completely. Wow. But you're going to have the conversation with your father. And that gave me the courage to confront my father, have the conversation. And it was a deep moment, I'll never forget tiptoeing up the steps to my father's bedroom. My father was sleeping, and I said, Dad, I need to talk to you. This was the moment where I felt like I was killing my father, Yes. But I think that every boy has to kill his father, metaphorically, to become his true man.
His own man.
Of
course, yeah.
And that's the day I became a man. And I said, Dad, I'm not taking over. And he said, are you sure? That was even worse, because I'd rather he just threw some things around the room and screamed. But he just said, are you sure?
And he put it back on you.
And I had to dig into myself and really reach in. And there was a moment where I almost didn't. And he said, are you sure? I said, yes. That's when I knew there was no going back. He was silent. Yeah. We didn't speak for 2 years. And that's when I went to my room and I cried. I wept. Because I felt like either I just made the most epic mistake of my entire life when I just destroyed my life.
Right.
Or I don't know what. And I sat in my room, probably for the next weeks, and I said to God, God, you've given me this calling. You've given me this guidance. You've guided me to this point. I feel that what I'm feeling is true.
Yep.
but I have literally just jumped into the middle of the ocean and I have no direction. Like, don't leave me now. If any of this stuff I've been reading since I was a child, Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, what have you, if any of this is true, if any of this stuff works, I need to know it now.
Right.
Like, help, don't leave me here now.
I don't want to wander in the desert for 40 years. Yeah, exactly.
And I was just in this unknown void. And I knew I couldn't turn back. And so I was just sitting in this void. And I remember being in the library of my school, waiting for an answer. And someone hands me a magazine called The Economist. I have no idea why, but I felt chills in my body in that moment. Like something was guiding. This was a clue.
Right.
And I look in the back. It says American government's giving away 55,000 green cards in the green card lottery. I knew that moment. I knew that the universe, God was guiding me.
Yes.
This was the sign I'd been waiting for. Many times we ask for the sign, but we're not paying attention because we have an idea or a preconceived idea that the way that life is going to show up is going to be a specific way.
It has to follow my blueprint or it's wrong.
Life can happen in so many different ways that is beyond our conscious ego's, personalities, imagination. Because when we're locked into the ego, we're only able to see a very limited sliver of life and the pie. And so all of a sudden, I'm sitting in the library. Someone says, American government's giving away 55,000 green cards in the lottery. I'm like, what the hell is a lottery? But I knew. And I entered. And I knew I was going to win. And so I entered through a law firm in Washington, paid a fee, $1,000, whatever it was, entered. This was April. I was told that unless you heard back by September the 17th or the 18th, I think it was, if you don't hear back by that time that you've won, just move on with your life. So every day I'm meditating, I'm praying. I'm doing my visualization, law of attraction. I'm visualizing myself in America. I'm imagining, was it Bush or whoever, the president shaking my hand at the airport, welcoming me to America. I even went as far as cutting out a green card because, the first book I read in self-help was Creative Visualization by Shakti Gawain. Imagination, the power of imagination. You got to visualize what you want. So I'm going to visualize myself in America. I got a map of Los Angeles, Wilshire Boulevard, Beverly Boulevard, Olympic Boulevard, Santa Monica. I'm visualizing myself there. I literally cut out a piece of paper, colored it green, wrote my name, says green card. Didn't know green cards were pink, but it did its job. So I had this green card in my wallet that was made up, and I'm visualizing myself there. I'm feeling myself there. Like I'm in America, I'm living in America. Bush is shaking my hand. Here I am, the president of the United States welcoming me. Every day I am expecting my green card notification. Every day I go to the mailbox and there's nothing. September the 17th, nothing. September the 18th, nothing.
Oh no.
Now I am pissed off at the universe. I'm pissed off. I'm mad at God. I'm like, I had one of those F you God moments. And I'm sitting there screaming at God, going, you abandoned me. And I said to my mother, I'm going to America. I'm packing. I feel the calling so strongly that I am going to America with 2 suitcases, green card or not, in 2 weeks. Call it illegal, but I'm going. That's it. It's non-negotiable. I'm not backing down because I know that what I feel is true.
It's too strong.
It's too strong. And so that night I went to sleep, started packing my bags. My mom is getting worried. We got a phone call that night. My mother picks up the phone and says, it's for you. It's a guy from America. I'm like, okay. Is this Mr. Blackson? I said, yes. This is Mr. So-and-so with the law firm you applied through. He goes, we can't believe this, but you've won a green card.
No way.
I'm like, no way. I'm going crazy. I'm hugging my mother. I'm 17 and a half.
Oh, yeah.
I'm screaming, jumping, put the phone down. We're jumping and hugging. And in that moment of celebration, I hear a voice that says, Kute, why do you seem so surprised? You're acting like you didn't know. You knew you were going to win. And that was a moment where there was such a deep connection to the knowing that I've always remembered that moment. And so won the green card, came to America with 2 suitcases, $800 in my pocket, 1 suitcase full of clothes, 1 suitcase full of books, seminar tapes, Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar books and tapes.
You're ready.
And just showed up in America, 18. Landed in Los Angeles, following a dream, following a vision. No idea where I was going.
Right.
No idea what I was doing. Pre-internet, couldn't research. But the soul knows. And what I have found is that when you follow your soul, if you dare to follow your soul, and this is what I have done my whole life. I'm not the most intelligent person. I'm not the most scientific person. I'm not the most Ivy League trained person. I'm not the most, whatever person, but I am the person that has single-handedly dared to follow my soul, whether it made sense or not.
Right.
And I think when you follow your soul without question, you will always end up, this is what I've seen, you will always end up in the right place at the right time with the right people, doing the right thing, even though the pathway that you take doesn't make sense.
Right.
And so that's what I've done. Life has been a process of following my soul. It brought me here to you, and here we are, and that's how I came to America. Just landed.
Wow. I want to go back a little bit, because I think a lot of, and then I want to take you from the day you landed in America on. So I want to back up a little bit and speak to parents today that want something so bad for their children. Because that's what they were, or that is the dream they always had for their lives, for themselves, and they think their children to just automatically be ready for it, would want to accept it. Since dad played football, little Johnny's going to go to every football practice, whether he likes it or not, because dad wants it for him. And at what point does the father say, okay, I want you, this is what I would like you to do, and I'm giving you a little guidance, but I should really be asking you what you want to do.
Yeah.
So shifting from the parent being authoritative, and I know it's even 10 times this in your culture then.
Yeah.
Because the son, the father, and it's a lot in our culture too, but with that big of a following with your father and this iconic person that everyone looked up to, that's just the path that will be. So he didn't know, he didn't know really what you wanted, because he was so enthralled with you becoming the next. But I think that speaks to a lot of parents out now. Like, how do you assess that in your kid and give them the choice?
This is what I would say, and I think it's multi-layered.
Of course.
And it's even paradoxical in certain ways. First thing I would say is, your kids don't belong to you. They belong to life. They belong to the universe. Your kids aren't yours. They are life's.
Right.
And I think we are all souls.
Right.
And we incarnate into this human experience, this earth school,
Right.
to learn, to grow, and evolve.
Yes.
And if life is a school, your kids really have their own curriculum. They have their own life lessons.
Right.
They have their own path, their own lessons. And regardless of you, they're here to learn their lessons, and you don't really get to choose their lessons. Their soul chooses their lessons. And the soul is here to evolve with or without you.
Right.
And many of those lessons, they're going to learn, because that's the curriculum that their soul has incarnated to learn.
Sure.
And you're part of their teacher, but they're also your teacher, right?
Right.
And many times we see ourselves as, oh, I'm here to teach them, which we are to a degree, but they're also here to teach us.
Right.
So when you realize that we are all souls with our own path, with our own lessons, with our own curriculum, then your job is to not, shall we say, simply condition them to be who you think you want them to be, but I think is to provide a environment and a space and the conditions so that the innate intelligence of their own soul can truly flourish. Is to provide the environment and conditions so that the true inner wisdom of their own soul can thrive and activate. But I think many times as parents, based on our traumas, our own unmet needs, our own conditioning from childhood, we are in reaction, and from our own limited conditioning, which we can talk about, we then, in our limited belief system, we then impose that onto our children, thinking we're doing the best thing, not realizing that our own pain and our own wounds and our own insecurities and our own unmet needs are now, thwarting
Twisting their future.
our own children's
That's right.
natural flourishing and development.
That's right.
So when you see them as not an extension of you, your children are not an extension of you. Your children are not here to fulfill your needs and desires. Your children are here to learn, grow, and evolve, and to fulfill and realize the highest potentiality that their soul is seeking to experience. And your job is to provide the space for them to truly be able to do that, remove the weeds, so that the seeds can just grow as beautifully and as naturally as possible. And to, guide without imposing. And I think there's a difference between guiding and imposing. So when you can truly see them as their own souls with their own unique path, I think there's a different relationship that we can have with our kids. Sure. And I think also a side note I would say is one of the greatest gifts that we can give our children, if we want to parent them, and now having a 3-year-old, is a living experiment.
Right.
I think one of the greatest gifts we can give to our children is a free consciousness. One of the greatest gifts we can give our children is our own inner evolution and our own healing.
Right.
Because whatever we don't resolve, our own pain, our own traumas, our own conditioning, our own childhood, our own ancestral, because the stuff that was not resolved by our ancestors, that gets passed down and handed down through generations, genetically, energetically, vibrationally, spiritually, karmically. And then whatever we don't resolve flows to the next generation.
To resolve.
Yep. So many times we are playing out the unresolved secrets and patterns of generations previously, the addiction, the alcoholism, the pain, the abuse, that the secrets that weren't resolved, that flows to us. And now many of us, we're living out a life. We're born into an environment, and now we're living out a life that we're not even aware, some of it's not even ours. Right. So I think one of the greatest gifts that we as parents, if we want to raise healthy children, is to heal ourselves.
Right.
And when we free ourselves and heal ourselves, then our soil, our consciousness is free. Our consciousness is not carrying the frequency, because all the traumas and the pain and the hurt and the shame and the guilt that we carry is a vibration.
100%.
Is a frequency that we carry inside of ourselves, that if you now go to parent your child, even without you saying anything, just being in the room with your child for 18 years, holding that energy, holding that pain, that shame, that guilt, that trauma, that is energetically a vibration that is pulsating and affecting them, whether they're consciously aware or not, because not just what you tell them, it's who you're being.
Right.
And your beingness carries that vibration. And so I think the greatest gift we can give them is not just what we say, is not just what we provide, is not just the soccer things and the activities we take them to, is not simply the homes and the trust and the real estate that we pass on to them in generational wealth. Is the clarity of consciousness. Because when we free ourselves, we create a clear space, a new vibration. Firstly, a new vibration that we are pulsating out and holding for them.
Right.
But now they also won't have to work out some of the unresolved stuff. When I look at my child today, my 3-year-old son, he carries a frequency. He carries a vibration that is, when I saw him the first time, I knew that all the work, the 20-some years of inner work I had, 30 years of inner work I'd done, to resolve my father and my grandfather and all of the pain that
people you've never met,
generations I've never met. I knew I had shifted the timeline, and I had freed him from that. So that was a whole new start. And I think that consciousness is a gift, so that when we're free and when we're happy and when we're aligned and when we're connected to who we are, they are being raised in that frequency, in that environment, in that love, in that family, in that clarity.
It's almost until then you're now giving them a clean slate to grow in, and the space you're giving them may include you moving back a step to give them that space in their own environment.
There's an intelligence that they have.
Yeah, so they can flourish. And I think if parents are asking, well, how do I get this free? How do I, if I can be handed down through DNA, through spirituality, through everything else you just mentioned, if I can be affected by that and infected by that, how do I know the things that are actually holding me back and will hold my child back? And in my case, when I look at this, because I've had kind of a do-over. Like I've got older kids and I've got younger. I've got a 4-year-old as well. And whenever I need to figure out what part of me needs healing to give my child room to grow, it usually comes out in our interactions. Yeah. So maybe the thing that makes me the most upset at him is the exact thing I need to heal in me.
They are our teachers, you know. They are our teachers, for sure.
And I love that life is that way. But you know, I used to tell my kids, you didn't come with an instruction manual.
Yeah.
You know, I was never taught how to raise kids when I first had a kid. Yeah. But if I can listen to my own soul and the things that put me in uncomfortable situations, or I get a flinch, or I react to certain things, those are the things that I need to then start to work on for myself. Yeah. That may have come from generations before me that I knew nothing about until that moment that child brought that out in me.
Yeah.
Have you had those experiences yet with your kid? Or is all the work that you've done leading up to that, you think cleared the path more than a normal person would have?
There's so much work I have done.
Of course.
You know, and we can go into some of that with my father and the unfolding of the story.
Yes.
You know, because a lot of healing happened.
Oh, we've got at least another hour here, if not two. Aaron, check his flight.
But I you know, like being a father for me is a spiritual path.
Of course.
Being a parent is a spiritual path, because it is part of the spiritual path is about purifying the ego.
Yes.
You know, that's the whole point, is to loosen one's identification with one's own perceived sense of self.
Right.
And move beyond that, and to not be so entrenched in living run by the ego. Mm-hmm. And I think being a parent, because it's really not just about you, right?
Right.
Now you're responsible.
It's never about you.
You're responsible.
As a parent.
It's never about you. It's all about you, but it's never about you.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Because now you're really responsible also for another being, another soul.
That's right.
Right. Purifies, at least for me, has been a purification of the ego beyond meditation. And so for me, my son is my guru. Right. He shows me where I'm impatient. He shows me where I'm resistant.
Exactly.
He shows me where I'm trying to push an agenda.
Right.
You know, he shows me my limitations.
Right.
You know, he shows me my reactivity. And one thing for me that's been profoundly healing is, as I parent my child, I also have had this experience that I'm parenting that age of Kute, that age of myself within myself.
Right.
And it's been profound to actually have this experience, to be there for my son in a way that my father was never there for me. Mm-hmm. And as I parent my son completely differently, present, showing up, I give him the things, the play that I never got.
Right.
And through him, that part of me heals. As I play with him.
So as he's teaching you through this interaction, you've actually, and we know now that there is no time.
Yes. I'm healing myself.
You're healing Kute at 5, 6, 7,
3,
8, 9. Yeah. In the womb.
Yeah.
Arguably.
Yeah.
You're healing Kute back then as you're interacting with your child now.
Yeah. And I realize, being there for my son has really, and I healed a lot with my father, but has really shown me how much I needed my dad.
Yeah.
That I wasn't even acknowledging. I needed my dad.
Right.
I needed my dad. But I just, I developed, we all do, all sorts of defense mechanisms. No, I don't need my dad. I don't need anyone, because needing someone
makes you weak.
Was it felt helpless.
Yep.
And that helplessness is painful. And I don't want to feel helpless. So I became Kute as a young boy. I became the independent person.
Yes.
I don't need you. I don't need you. I don't need help
anybody.
from anyone. I don't need anyone.
Yep.
I'll just do everything myself.
Yep.
And sure, it helped me succeed. But I couldn't receive love. I couldn't let people
It left a hole.
I couldn't let people deeply into my heart.
Yeah.
And so being there for my son is even brought up layers of grief. You know, of like, wow, I'm here for him and he's so happy. There was grief that I didn't even realize I had, that I get to feel.
Right.
And release and heal that part of me so that there's more spaciousness to even be there for myself and him. And so I think as parents, that's the work, you know. We think we're just parenting them, but we're healing ourselves.
We're getting parented.
And in healing ourselves, they are our teachers. So my son, I no longer, you know, when I was 20, I used to chase spiritual gurus in India.
Right.
And mystics and masters and pastors and preachers. Now
That was like a missing father
now
to you.
my guru is my son.
Yeah.
He teaches me everything.
You know, I see in my mind's eye that young children are so much closer to God than we are because they've just come from God.
Yes.
So if we can tap into that innate curiosity and that everything's okay, and I'm going to try everything, and I fear nothing because I know my Father is going to take care of me, then I think that puts it on us to say, no matter what comes at me in life, I know my Father physically could be there to help. I know that, but I'm certain that my Father is taking care of me. Kute, this is good. Wow. Okay, so that's strong right there. If we ended it right now, that's probably one of the best podcasts we've done. I can say that openly in this genre. So if we now go to, I'm going to take that in any genre because this is life. This is the nucleus of everything, in my opinion. So Kute is 18. You've landed in America. Where do you go? Where do you find an apartment? Where do you live? What do you do for a living? Because you didn't come with very much money. Like, what's the process you've gone through at that level? And then I want to get into what you're doing now and your trip in the next couple of weeks to Bali.
I was just following clues.
Okay.
For me, life is a process of following clues.
Okay.
And I think many times as human beings, we want the answer. We seek certainty. God, tell me. But what I realized...
But if we had certainty, we wouldn't need faith.
We wouldn't need faith.
And it's impossible to please God without faith.
Yeah, we wouldn't need faith.
No.
And I look back at the beginning when I first came to America, and I think if God told me everything that was going to happen, not only would I not need faith, but the truth is I probably would not have set foot on the plane.
Okay.
Because if I knew all the stuff I was going to go through, like, let me just stay in London in the comfort zone of my family,
right?
Because I was homeless, I didn't have food. I mean, I was starving. I mean, it was hard. I would love to say it was easy, but it was hard. It was hard, and so I think in many ways we look for certainty, but the game of life would not be as joyous and as interesting if we already knew how it was going to unfold.
Sure.
You know? And so, I came to America, landed at LAX, asked the shuttle bus taxi guy, take me somewhere safe and cheap where I can stay for a few weeks. He drops me off, boom, in Venice Beach. And
so you had no reservations anywhere.
Nothing.
You had no idea where you were.
No idea.
No idea what America was.
Didn't know one person.
You landed, literally took your suitcases.
Take me somewhere safe and cheap.
Take me somewhere safe and cheap.
He drops me off in Venice Beach.
Oh my gosh.
Which back then was...
Which is the craziest place.
Crazy. And I cried for about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And this was before cell phones, so I would call my mother.
Yeah.
How I collect call.
Yeah.
I'd call my mother, it's your son, and she would decline the call and then call the payphone and call back.
Yeah, right.
And so I called her crying one day, expecting her to say, come home. And my mother, and I was the only son. And this is a great gift that my mother gave me. Right. She could have said, come home, but she just said, keep going. I was ready to quit and come home, and she said, keep going, keep going. So on the flip side, yes, you allow your children the space to just unfold. But I think on another side, when you see who they really are, right, and what their soul is guiding them to, right, maybe part of, you could say, being a parent is holding them accountable to that without just, do whatever you want. Yes. Right. So that's the balance, right, because she could have just said, oh, come home, my son. And the fact that she didn't is what saved my life and kept me going, because I was ready. Because here I am. I know. Did it
upset you that she didn't say come home? I mean, in that moment, were you a little?
I knew the rightness of what she was doing, and I felt relieved. Deep down, I felt relieved
because it validated your faith too.
I wanted her to say come home.
Yeah,
but my soul knew that was not the right decision.
Yeah.
And so that kept me going. And, I found an apartment, a tiny apartment about this size, half the size of this room, and moved in and had no bed, had no couch, had literally took a mattress out of the trash. Literally out of the trash.
Really?
And slept. I'm an 18-year-old kid. I'm not thinking it's dirty. I had
a
place.
Matter.
Didn't matter.
Right.
And you know what? I didn't care, because I felt free.
Yep.
My soul felt free. I knew without a shadow of a doubt that I was on the right path. And the freedom of trusting my soul and listening to my soul was a freedom that nothing and no one could take from me. And that was the freedom. And so I just began my life, got odd jobs here and there, and just started life in America,
So some of the odd jobs, I have stories about my odd jobs, and I can see how they align perfectly, and I can see how they don't align at all with what I ultimately did. Yeah. Give me one or two that stand out. One, that you can't believe I'm doing this. Yeah. And two, something that you could see benefited you later.
I was cleaning the kitchens and, in a little $1 a dish Chinese restaurant, just to make ends meet.
Sure.
And
sure.
Free Chinese.
Free food.
Free Chinese food. One time I was selling cars, and that's a hard business, man. Selling cars in a tent sale, weekend tent sales.
Oh my gosh!
3 days, of the week, hustling, selling cars, and that was brutal for my soul. Made a few $100, but I knew that this was not my path.
Right.
And so,
but you were learning how to meet people, deal with people,
learning,
sell them an idea, listening to people.
My life started shifting when I had no car and I took a bus to the LA Convention Center. This is where life is about following clues. You have to follow the clues. The challenge is, most of us as human beings, we're not paying attention. We're inside of ourselves, we're outside of ourselves, we're so distracted that we're not following the clue. Life is always giving you clues. The question is, are you paying attention? Yeah. And I think deep down there is a part of us that knows everything. We already know. You already know. We know.
That's what I tell my wife all the time, that I know everything.
She
takes it.
The way you might be saying that might be a bit different than what I mean it.
Yeah,
but
maybe I should approach it differently.
Yeah.
My soul knows everything.
Don't go to her and say, Kute,
tell me that I know everything.
Right? But there's a deeper part of us that knows everything, because I think at that deepest level, we are everything. We are one with everything at that deepest level. That's right. It's just, we're so living at the surface of life, the mind, the distractions, that we're often not in touch with that deeper knowing. And I think the more we can trust that knowing, life flows. That's right. Life flows. And so I was guided to go to a business convention, LA Business Convention. I went there, left, seemingly uneventful. I got a phone in my apartment. It was an upgrade, and someone called me out of the blue, landline, and said, I met you at the LA Business Convention. I got your business card. I didn't have any business cards, but she said, I got your business card. And she started pitching me a network marketing company, Prime America insurance company. I'm like,
Right.
I didn't come for. I came here for Les Brown, Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins. I want to meet Mark Victor Hansen. I came here for self-help, man. This is what I meant to do with my life.
Right.
And she said, well, that's not my thing, but I know someone who is in a network marketing that is this is before YouTube, that is a self-help based network marketing company called TPN. And it's satellite dish with programming, a couple of channels, and all these people, Stephen Covey, they're all a part of this thing. I'm going to have her give you a call. So I don't know how she got my number, but it was like a miracle. Like out of the blue, I get this phone call. Long story short, I end up joining this network marketing company. I had no money. I go to the network marketing meeting. And again, following the clues, I said to the woman, I want to sign up for the package, but it's $600. I have no money. This woman who I'd never met in my whole life says, there's something about you. I don't know why I'm meant to do this, but I'm going to pay for your package to sign up.
Oh my gosh.
And that's what got me started. And from that, 18-year-old Kute, and I ended up in a month signing up like 60 people which is a big deal in the network marketing,
right.
knowing no one.
Right.
And that took me to the convention, the national convention, which all of a sudden I'm in the back of the auditorium. And someone taps me on the shoulder because they heard about this young kid who was enrolling all these people,
Setting
riding
records.
the bus, riding the bus.
Yeah.
And they threw me on stage. 20,000 people in Dallas, Texas.
Right.
In that moment, everything from my childhood came.
Yeah, of course.
I realized that all of my father's preparation
That's right.
set me up for moments like that.
That's right.
And I was on stage, 20,000 people. I look in the front row, Jim Rohn, Les Brown, Mark Victor Hansen, Zig Ziglar. I mean, the list goes on. Tommy Hopkins. Everyone is there.
Everyone you were trying to see is now watching
They're
you.
right there. And I start speaking. Next 2-3 minutes, the whole audience is in tears. Everyone is standing up. That triggered everything. Wow. And that moment was another pivotal moment in my life because that evening, Jim Rohn requested to see me. And he said, Jim Rohn wants to speak to you. And that's when I connected with him.
And he's huge. He's the one that inspired Anthony Robbins.
Tony Robbins.
Yeah, and got him going.
Yeah. And so Jim Rohn and I had a beautiful conversation. And then his promoters started speaking to me and they said, we want you to come and promote seminars. And so at 18 and a half,
They saw how you could move an audience.
Yeah. What started my, you could say, trajectory was I started promoting seminars for a year. And that started developing a lot of things for me. And life just kept unfolding from there, Yeah.
You said I want to talk about this just for a second. Earlier, you said that you had been to a Tony Robbins seminar and walked on fire.
Yeah. When I was 13 or 14.
So I went to one of those seminars. I was a little older than that, but I also walked on fire.
Yeah.
And I remember repeating cool moss, cool moss, cool moss. And you had to get your mind off of it.
Yeah.
And in my instance, they because right before I went, I had read a thing about how he did this in Fiji. But in Fiji, they would heat the rocks from the bottom up. So you could put rocks down in a line, 30, 40, 50 feet long, put fire underneath, and the top of the rocks would stay cool. So I had no fear going into this. He did 7 or 8 hours of instruction. I didn't even pay attention. I was drawing things. I was doing whatever. We get out there. It was at Dallas, at the Dallas airport. Wow. And we get out to the Dallas airport, and there are stacks of wood stacked on each other, like 8 feet tall, burning.
It's about to get real.
And they would take the coals from that fire and line a path that we were supposed to walk on. And I thought, Toto, we're not in Kansas anymore. It was not the rock that I thought was heating up from but these were coals.
These are real coals.
These are real because you walked on them.
Real coals.
These are real coals. And I stood there and I thought, my mind said there's no possible way, but I was already committed.
Yeah.
And I just remember trying to get my mind off of the fire and on the end.
Yeah.
So I think that's also a metaphor in life. No matter what you're walking through, number one, don't stop.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people there were 2 or 3 people that stopped in the middle of it. They freaked out and they had to be taken to the hospital. They were burned.
Yeah.
But if you don't stop
Yeah.
and not look down at your problem,
Yeah.
but continue looking at the answer
Yeah.
and walk your path until the very end,
Yes.
you'll come out unburned.
Yeah.
And you've learned a lesson.
Yeah.
That was my lesson. What were you thinking when you walked? Was it the same setup or something different?
The same setup. I wasn't thinking. I was just excited to be there. You know? I just wasn't thinking. I couldn't believe I had done it. You know. But
Right.
then I remembered all the miracles I grew up seeing, and going,
That's
wait a
right.
second. You know.
That's right.
Honestly, for me, the greatest miracle in life is not walking on coals, as you know.
Right.
And even the greatest miracle in life is not seeing a blind person see, or a person stand up out of wheelchairs. To me, the greatest miracle of life is life itself. And the greatest miracle of life, like life is a miracle. Every moment is a miracle.
Right.
The ordinary moments are a miracle.
Right.
You know, and I think we get caught up in looking for these miracles on a firewalk, on a mountaintop, or on some vacation, or in a church. But the truth is, right now, there are trillions and trillions and trillions of cells in your body interacting just to be able to, for us to have
To
this
be here.
conversation.
Yep.
You had a wrap this morning. I had some eggs this morning. And we digested this food, and something inside of you right now, whatever you want to call it, something is digesting your food
Right.
without any effort from you.
Yeah.
Without any
I'm not even thinking
instruction.
about it.
You're not even you're not going here, digest. It's
Right.
just happening.
Right.
So trillions of cells are interacting, and every moment, if we bring our attention to that dimension within, every moment is a living miracle.
Wow.
But most of us, we're not paying attention. How is it that you're digesting? Now, there's all this thing about breath work. You got to breathe a certain way. Cool. Breathing is cool. But the fact is, breath is happening.
You do it anyway.
It's happening spontaneously. So do we ever sit to think, well, what is it that is breathing me? There is an intelligence that is breathing, a mystery that is breathing, life force. We are being breathed by life itself.
Yes.
And for me, this is the freaking miracle. Whether you succeed or not, whether things work out or not, whether you get what you want or not, whether you achieve the thing or not, whether you manifest or not,
Right.
right this moment, we are living, breathing miracles. And somehow
Yes.
we forget.
Yes.
We live in this universe that is wild. It's crazy. You know, you walk outside, there's people driving, there's sky, there's a cloud, there's trees, there's ice cream, there's orgasms, there's grief, there's pain, there's toddlers, there's old people, there's Putin, there's Trump, there's Biden, there's
Right.
you know, Pablo
Everything.
Escobar, there's everything and nothing and everything in between. And we're like, bored, we're depressed, we're like, I'm looking for the miracle. It's everywhere. It's right in front of us, you know. And I think somehow we forget.
Right.
And so I think the more we can acknowledge the miracle of the moment, the miracle of the ordinary, the miracle of life, the miracle of a smile, the miracle of your child that is sitting right in front of you,
Right.
and realizing many of us were looking for God in a temple, in a mosque, on a mountaintop, but there's God right there.
He's looking at
You know, I remember I was in India. I went to India to spend time with one of my old mentors, a grandfather figure, a man called Dwarkaji, 80 years old at the time, built 300 schools for the underprivileged kids, did the largest eye camp in the world, had these fantasies of being like a Mother Teresa guy. So I went to see him, and the reality of being of service. This man has been of service to the poorest people every day for the last 50 years of his life. Day in, day out, has 2 pairs of clothes. This is his life. So I go there to his ashram, where his orphanage is, and he has about 200 of the poorest kids there, kids that he takes off the streets, kids that he finds in the trash, kids that are thrown on his doorstep, wrapped in newspapers, abandoned. And these are the kids that he is taking care of.
Right.
And so I'm going to be here to be of service to these kids. And for the first 2 weeks, these kids are not socialized, so they don't really talk to you. They don't really say thank you. They don't appreciate anything. So in the process of trying
You're just surviving.
they're just doing the best that they can do.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting frustrated with these kids, man. Being of service is not as much fun as I thought.
Right.
And I'm exhausted and I'm tired, and it's hot in India. It's
Right.
125 degrees. I'm burning. this man's orphanage is opposite the Mahabodhi temple. The Mahabodhi temple is where the Bodhi tree is. The Buddha got enlightened.
Yep.
So I say to Dwarkaji, after 2 weeks, I'm exhausted. I'm going to go to the Mahabodhi temple so I can meditate where the Buddha statue is and the beautiful energy is right there, the frequencies. And he says to me, it's okay to go meditate. If you need to go meditate, go meditate. But just make sure that while you're there, your heart doesn't turn to stone. Because right here in front of you, this child here and that child are living Buddhas.
Oh my gosh.
And living Christs, waiting for you to worship them, waiting to be served. And that moment, I was a young man, but that moment just pierced my soul to realize that the miracle is here right now. Everywhere, like this is it. And I think when we can recognize that, you could say that's when we kind of bring heaven on earth. It's in the moment, it's in the perception, it's in the realization that this is the moment right here. And so now, the miracle is just sitting with my son and doing nothing and realizing that there is a living, breathing intelligence, life, the divine intelligence is living him, sitting there holding hands with my wife, realizing she is a manifestation of the divine right here, God looking at me.
Yes.
And yet we forget, we forget. And so life is...
Because we're caught up in this stuff that come to us faster than we can even handle it through social media, through television, through the influences of our friends who mean well.
Yes.
But in effect, taking us away from what's really important.
Yeah. We're distracted. I think even, there is a kind of conspiracy, I feel, to distract us from the truth of who we are.
Yes.
Because if we can be distracted with, more social media and Netflix and Hulu, and nothing wrong with these, by the way, but Netflix, Hulu, social media, Monday night football, Tuesday night football, Wednesday night football, Thursday night basketball, Sunday night football, a Super Bowl, a Grammys, and we're constantly distracted, then we don't have time to question. Then we don't have time to look around and enjoy the moment. We don't even have time to remember who we really are.
Right.
And I think as human beings, we've become so distracted and externally focused that we've lost touch, we've forgotten the true essence and the power of who we really are, And I think when we forget who we really are and we are hypnotized to simply believe that we are this limited physical body. We're born and then we die and that's it. That we are just this space suit of a body, this costume that our soul is wearing. And we believe that this is the totality of who we are, then we live in fear. Right. And then we can be controlled because then we forget that we are infinite. We are part of the infinite. I and my Father are one. And I think when we can forget that, then we live in limitation. We live as slaves. We live as victims to life.
That's right.
We lose touch with our creative ability to truly co-create with life.
Right. Right.
And so I think part of life and part of the opportunity and part of the miracle is waking up to that.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I could end there and it would be one of the best podcasts.
Let's keep going.
So now you're moving through getting your first opening and you do this conference. You get into the network marketing company. You start doing very well there. You're setting records, everything like that. And now they call you up on stage, and everybody that you admired are now listening to you speak. Yeah. And Jim Rome, he's actually giving you an opportunity to open conferences and to get even more well-known, be on stage, et cetera, et cetera. How long did you do that before realizing that you had a gift that you needed to help people with? And then how did you transition into making that gifting available to help other people?
I was promoting seminars, speaking 2 or 3 times a day around Southern California.
Of course.
Sales.
Yeah.
Go in, you inspire people, and then Here's the
Close 'em.
conference.
Yep.
Yeah, here's the conference.
Right.
You know, car dealerships, real
Yep.
estate companies.
Yeah.
I'm getting laughed out of RV parks. You know,
Right,
It was
right.
an education.
Right.
But I was so passionate and believed in personal growth
Sure.
and spiritual. For me, it was a passion. For me, this has never been a business.
Right.
It has been a calling. And so I was so passionate about exposing people to personal growth and personal development. So I did this for about a year. And one moment, one of the general managers of a car dealership in the South Bay, Toyota, he said, you know, we've listened to Les Brown like 700 times and we love him. Says the same thing. Would you be open to training our team? Like, oh, okay. So, sure.
Wow.
So again, seizing the moment, I said,
Sure.
absolutely. So that was an opening.
Sure.
And in that mix, I started having this dream to be the next Oprah. I didn't know anything about Hollywood, but I started watching Oprah.
Sure.
And I wanted to be the next Oprah. This is before podcasts and
Right.
before all of this. And, you know, talk shows were popular. Oprah, Montel, Ricky Lake, what have you.
Yep.
Sally Jesse Raphael. You know,
Arsenio Hall,
Arsenio,
even.
Geraldo.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I want to be the next Oprah.
Right.
And I wanted to do what podcasts are doing now, which is I want to bring on, you know, let's bring on Puff Daddy, or let's bring on Alanis Morissette, and let's not just talk about what's your favorite color socks. Let's talk about
let's get
like
some conflict.
How do you create? What's your creative process? You know, let's inspire people through the interview. So this was my whole vision. And long story short, for the next 2 years, I started pitching this TV show. No experience, no contacts. I started pitching a TV show. I went homeless in the process because because my entire vision, I couldn't see any other alternative other than I'm going to be the next Oprah. And I started pitching this. I'm 20 years old, started pitching this TV show. I pitched Steven Spielberg, David Geffen, Richard Branson. I pitched everybody and anybody. I tracked them down in parks, in gyms, in yoga studios, in restaurants.
So let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
Just to get in front of these people is another miracle because you don't get in front of those people.
I mean, I have a crazy Steven Spielberg story.
Tell it to me real quick.
Okay,
Yeah,
little detour.
Yeah, we'll get in there though.
So I wanted to do this TV show so badly. I'm like, I was living and breathing it, sleeping on a friend's couch because I was making no money because now my job was getting this TV show because I could see it. And I read Spielberg's biography. I'm like, this guy was jumping over fences in Universal, and you know, Sid Sheinberg gave him an opportunity. He's a rebel. He's gonna see that. He's gonna see that. Yeah. I want to pitch him. DreamWorks was just coming up at the time, so I called up a friend. I said, "Can you introduce me to Steven Spielberg?" He goes, "Well, I know someone who knows him. I speak to this guy." Yeah, well, my son plays soccer with Steven Spielberg, but I can't introduce you to Spielberg. This is this is Spielberg. I said, just tell me where he plays soccer. You don't have to tell me anything else.
Yeah,
So he goes, don't say anything, but he plays soccer in Brentwood at this location by the post office. I'm like, that's enough said, click. I show up one Saturday in my only suit at the time with a tie.
On the soccer field?
On the soccer field with a Kinko's created press kit that I had made. This is before all of the technology today. And a handwritten letter to Mr. Steven Spielberg. Mr. Spielberg, I want you to launch the #1 rated talk show in the world. And I have a 4-page letter that I hand wrote to him. And I had it ready with a little video I had of me speaking. And I was hiding there. He's not there. Next week I go back. I see all these kids on the soccer pitch. And I knew he had a adopted kid of color.
Right.
And I'm hiding behind a tree. And I look over there and I see Steven Spielberg. I'm like, holy shit, this is Steven Spielberg. That's really Spielberg.
Right.
With his wife.
Right.
So I'm hiding behind a tree going, do I just jump, go speak to him now? Do I wait?
Did you have your suit on again?
I had my suit on. I had my package. I had my, on the package was a Kinko printed, photograph of me, in a power pose.
Right.
And I had my video. Something said, just wait. So the game is over. Everyone's walking towards the parking lot. I'm hiding behind a tree. It's like out of a movie. I'm hiding behind a tree, and I see Spielberg and Kate Capshaw, his wife, and their adopted kid walking. And I just jump out, man. I jump out of the tree. I've never really told this story that much. I jump out of the tree, and 20-year-old Kute just I start pitching Steven Spielberg, and 40 people around have frozen, thinking,
Yeah, who is this crazy man?
This is about to end. His life is about to end. So I start pitching Spielberg. Mr. Spielberg, you were the young ones, and you pitched Steven Spielberg,
right.
and I want. And
you got your chance. I want my chance.
I'm like, I'm gonna make you, a trillionaire.
Right.
And I'm just going with my passion. I want to inspire people. And his wife looks. He looks at his wife. His wife laughs because she realizes, okay, this guy's not crazy. He's just passionate.
Right.
And he chills out. He's calmed down. He listens. He goes, you remind me of myself when I was your age.
Good.
And then he listens. He goes, okay. I give him my package. He walks off. He goes, okay, I remember. I'll be in touch. I'm like, he's not going to be in touch. That was Saturday. Monday, I get a phone call. I got a phone call from Steven Spielberg's assistant. This is Steven Spielberg's assistant.
Oh my gosh.
He watched your package. He was kind of impressed with you. He set up 3 meetings for you. DreamWorks were no longer weren't doing talk shows.
Sure.
But he was impressed enough to set up 3 meetings.
To help you.
So that was the short version of that Spielberg story. So there's many folks I met along the way like that. And the part of the story is I found these managers. They managed Michael Jackson, Leonardo DiCaprio, Backstreet Boys, Mariah Carey, Dolly Parton, on and on. Mm-hmm. Read about them. I start pitching them. They invite me to their office. I give them my whole pitch. Now, granted, I've been rejected 200 times by everybody. Laughed out of offices, kicked out of offices, thrown out of offices. Security called on me, And they look at me and they say, Michael Green and Jeffrey Quaternes, they say, we believe you. We're going to make you a star. We think you can do it. We're going to call this person. They start mentioning all these names, syndication, head of Fox, this and that. Here's a contract, management contract. Come back tomorrow. We're going to get to work. Mm-hmm. I go home. I'm excited. And I just want to meditate on this for a moment.
Sure.
Because everything has to be aligned.
Right.
I meditate on it, fully expecting. I hear a no. Don't sign. What the hell? No, that's not what I want to hear. No, I'm about to be a star. I'm freaking homeless. These are the biggest managers in Hollywood, Mike Ovitz level.
Right.
And my soul is saying no. And I know that this feeling in my soul, when I don't listen to it,
it's trouble.
Things don't go well.
Yep.
So I'm crazy enough now to listen to my soul. But I'm still pissed off.
Right.
And I'm mad at God.
Right.
Because I'm begrudgingly being forced to listen to my soul.
Right.
And so I call them up and I say, I can't do it. And they say, why? You're crazy. I'm like, my soul said. They're like, F your soul. You're crazy. Mm-hmm. They hung up the phone and I cried because I thought after all that's the moment where I gave up. That's the moment my life changed. That's the moment I was forced to surrender. Mm-hmm. I felt as though I had exhausted my ego's capacity to manifest my life. I had done everything and it wasn't working. And that's the moment I said to God, I was driving in the car and I said to God, I don't know what you want for my life anymore. I'm 21. I don't know what you want for my life. I have tried everything to do it my way. I have exhausted my way and my way is clearly not working. So you got to show me. Because if it's not my path to do this, show me my path. And I don't care if it's to clean the streets. I don't care what it is.
Right.
Just show me the way. And that's when I heard a voice that said, go and walk the Camino. I'm like, the Camino is a 900-kilometer trek in northern Spain. St. Francis of Assisi, Dante, Chaucer. It's on a ley line. And I'm like, I don't have the money to walk the Camino. I can't take a month off walk the Camino. Long story short, I speak to my best friend. My best friend is poor, has no money, wears the same clothes all the time. I made a decision to walk the Camino. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I have no funds to do it. I have no circumstance to go and take up 2 months off. But my soul is guiding me and I made a decision. Everything I think shifts at the point of decision.
Right.
Most of us, we wait for circumstances to align before we make the decision. When the truth is, The circumstances are waiting for the decision in order for the alignment to happen.
Right.
Right? Life is waiting for us.
100%.
God is waiting for us.
Right.
And so I said, I'm walking. So I'm having dinner with my poor friend. And I say, I'm guided to completely surrender myself to life. I have no idea where it's going to take me. I have no idea what the hell I'm going to do next. All I know is this is not working and I'm guided to walk the Camino. And he looks at me in Culver City, near Beckwith Church at the time.
Yep.
He looks at me and he says, really, you're guided? I'm like, yeah, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm not sure. He goes, 1 second. A piece of paper. I'm like, what's that? He goes, it's for you. And he keeps writing. I turn it over. It's $5,000. A check for $5,000 in my name. I'm like, what the hell is this?
From your poor friend.
From my poor friend who had no money.
Right.
Another piece of paper. $5,000. $10,000. And I'm like, what is this, a loan? What's going on? He goes, when you were speaking, I felt something. I felt you were meant to walk the Camino. And this is not a loan. This is a gift from God. I am just the delivery person, delivering to you what is yours. He said, I'm a low employee at a company called Broadcom. This is in the early 20s when it was exploding.
Right.
And he goes, I have $1 zillion worth of stock and I don't do anything and I hate my job and I wonder every day why the hell am I at my job?
Right.
And when you were speaking, I realized that this is one of the reasons that I was at my job, to have these stock options to be able to support this moment. And he said, because I know you going on this journey is going to impact millions of people. And you need to go on this journey. So this is not a loan. This is just a gift. I'm just making the delivery. Go walk the journey. And that's what took me on the Camino. On the Camino, someone said, go to India, which took me to India. And then I had these experiences in India that really forced me to surrender. I surrendered my life. And I said, whatever I'm meant to do, show me. I'll do whatever I'm guided to do.
Yeah.
And I think, I wrote the book on surrender, but we have this misconception in our culture that surrender is weak, that surrender is passive, that surrender is giving up, that if you surrender, you're not going to manifest your goals. If you surrender, you're going to be left behind. If you surrender, you're going to be a doormat. If you surrender, you're going to get less in life.
Right.
But I found through the process that in surrendering, what if you got more? More than you could have planned, more than you could have goal set, more than you could have imagined with the limitation of your mind. Maybe not what you expected, but what if it was better? What if it was beyond? What if it was better?
Right, of course.
And so on that journey to India, I had an awakening. I was shown some things. I had certain experiences that cracked me open to the nature of reality, the nature of who I am. And on that journey, I caught a vision of part of my destiny and part of what I was here to do, at least the next phase of what I'm here to do. And that's when I got the sense, after being 6 months, I shaved my head, broke up with my girlfriend, put everything in storage, said, I'm not coming back to America until I find the truth about why I'm here.
You were all in.
I was all in.
Yep.
And in India, I saw the vision. And that's when I got a calling to go back and inspire people. And that's how I started, 23, 20 some years old, a young kid. And I came back from America, from India. No money, no girlfriend, no apartment, no nothing, other than I just had a burning desire to help people. And what happened was, actually, before my first client showed up, what happened was I was living on a friend's couch above Air One in Los Angeles, and I would go to Pan Pacific Park every single day. And I would sit in the park and pray. God, show me. Okay, I've come back from India. Show me what I'm here to do next. Show me what my purpose is. Show me the next step. Show me how I can impact millions of people. This was going on for like 5 months of just sitting and waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. Nothing is clearly coming to me. All of a sudden, I hear this voice that says, "You're full of shit." Well, it's not exactly the voice, but, but that's what I hear. You're full of it.
Right.
look over there. So I look over across the street. I see an elderly woman. She must have been in her 80s, little woman. She's struggling with her groceries. Every day. And I realize I see her every day struggling with her groceries. And this voice says to me, while you're sitting here every day pondering your purpose and what you're here to do, and you say you want to be of service to millions of people in your lifetime,
You won't serve one.
this elderly woman is struggling with her groceries, and you won't get your ass off of this couch because you're busy praying.
Wow.
And you won't serve her.
Wow.
Get off the couch and serve her. So I stood up, and she couldn't speak English, a little Russian woman,
Right.
and I started helping her. And every day the next 3 months, I'd meet her at 8:30 in the morning, help her with her groceries. She taught me Russian, privyet, как дела, тебя хорошо. We started speaking.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
got to know a little bit about her life. And I just started serving one person. Because for me, what I saw in that moment, if it's about truly being of service, then it doesn't matter if I'm on a stage. It doesn't matter if I'm on a podcast.
1 or 1 billion, it doesn't matter.
What service is service, and we have to just start.
That's right.
Starting how you are, as you are, with who you are, regardless of your past history, just start. And I think many of us, we wait. So the funny thing is, you got me on a roll, but the funny thing is, this Russian woman, here's what was crazy. I just started serving her. No agenda, no idea where it was going to go. Responding to the need in the moment. If someone is wondering, how do I find my purpose? Respond to the need in the moment. And then life will show you and reveal to you what's next. So I jump off the couch, off the bench, and I start serving her for the next 3 months. She introduces me to another woman, Eastern European woman, younger, in the elevator. Oh, this is so-and-so. Cool. A few months later, I see this woman who's crying in the elevator. And I had just started dabbling with coaching and kind of helping people, having conversations. No idea what I'm doing, just kind of coaching people wherever I could.
Right.
I see this same woman crying in the elevator, and she cries and she says, I said, why are you crying? So I'm now coaching her in the elevator. My Jewish boyfriend won't marry me. I've been with him for 4 years because I'm not Jewish, and it broke my heart. I'm going to commit suicide. I don't know what I'm doing.
No.
And she was like on the edge. Basically, she decided that she was going to move back to Eastern Europe, not come back again. That was it. I moved, she moved, life moved on. I moved to Sherman Oaks, tiny little apartment there, my first apartment by myself. I kind of made it.
Right,
you know?
right, yeah.
8-unit building. I'm in one of the units. A year later, I'm outside. I see this young Eastern European woman that I saw in the elevator. I'm like, what the hell are you doing here? I thought you had moved. You broke up. She goes, I moved, but I decided to come back to the U.S. because it was better. A year later. So what are you doing here? Isn't there's only 8 units? She goes, oh, I'm thinking of moving to this building. Yeah, I'm going to move. Oh my gosh. She ended up being my neighbor.
No way.
And then a few months later, I get a knock. This is when my career started. I get a knock on my door, Sunday. It's her. She has a friend. This friend is her ex-boyfriend, the guy she was crying to me about. Says, this is my ex-boyfriend. He just lost $250,000 in Las Vegas in 2 days. 2 days, 20-some years ago. 2 days.
Wow.
He's addicted to heroin, cocaine, prostitutes, alcohol, you name it. His life is, can you help him? I know you do this coaching thing. Can you help him? No Before way. I could think, my soul said, yes, bring him tomorrow. I closed the door. I'm like, oh, what did I get myself into? This guy's a train wreck. And I prayed and I said, okay, if you said yes, soul, you have to show me the way.
Guide me.
And that's when you could say, I hate the word, but I downloaded a methodology, a vision of how to work with this guy. I had no training, but I received a vision of how to work with this guy that would transform him. In a nutshell, I took him for a month, and I took him through a very specific process that I ended up calling uncoaching. And in a month, his life transformed. In a month, I was shocked because I didn't have training for this. But through this process, in a month, off of drugs, off of cigarettes, off of alcohol, off of prostitutes, off of gambling, everything, his life had changed. 6 months later, found a new woman, got married, but and she wasn't Jewish, and just was happy. That one person Israeli guy. That one person brought all the Israelis in LA to me, and they talk. Brought everyone, and that one person blew up my coaching business, where people I'm 23 years old, started coming from around the world to see me for my uncoaching 1 month process.
Oh my gosh.
And that exploded my business. And I think to myself, if I was still sitting on that couch, on that bench of the
not
park,
helping that little lady.
and didn't help that little lady, which led to this, which led to that. And I look back now at my business today as I travel the world and my retreats and my seminars, what have you. So many of if I look at a tree, so many of those clients, if I trace them back, come from that one guy, which really come back from that one lady.
Right.
And so,
Oh my gosh.
that's a long story to just share part of the journey of how I started coaching. I wasn't qualified. I was never the most qualified person. Right. I was never the most educated person. I was never the most trained person. I was never the most sophisticated guy. I was not the most experienced person. But I started, and I listened, and I obeyed, and that's been my path, you know? And I think there's so many people that are gifted and talented and brilliant and genius, and they're waiting.
Right.
Waiting for a special moment, waiting for a special time, waiting for another sign, waiting for something, and then before you know it, life is over, and it's too late.
Well, like you were praying for your giftings. God, where do I go? And that miracle was right in front of you, crossing the street every day, calling unto you, I need help.
Yes.
I need help. And I'm willing. I would be interested to hear her story. What got her to that point? Because that point was your pivot point.
Yeah.
And then when you stood up and took action and said, my miracle is right in front of me, and helped her, then it blossomed everything else.
In ways I couldn't have planned.
Wow.
You know? Wow. So many of us, we don't take the step. We sit on the sidelines trying to figure out everything up front.
Right.
We try to figure out life up front. We try to overplan life up front rather than just taking the step.
Yep.
I think we want certainty before we take the step.
Right.
But there is no certainty in life.
No.
Tonight is not guaranteed. The next breath is not guaranteed.
Right.
The only guarantee is the moment. So I think when we follow what's true in the moment and we take the step, life reveals to us the next step in the process of living life.
That's right.
And then when we take the step, then we learn the lessons. You know, we gain the experience. We learn the lessons along the way to evolve and grow into becoming the version of ourselves that is actually capable of receiving
That's right.
the next level of the vision.
That's right.
And so sometimes we're trying to receive the next level of our ultimate vision, but we're not even fully capable of understanding it, executing it, receiving it. So life doesn't always give it to us up front.
Right.
But if we take the step and go through the life experience, we become the person that's capable of catching the vision that life is seeking to give us.
Of course. And I think people don't understand that when you take a step, it affects the other steps that are out there. You know, like when if I look at something over here or give someone attention, me giving them attention is going to pull them away from something else, which is then going to affect the next step in their life and my life.
Yes.
So people who want certainty and want to see the whole thing finished before they begin will never start. And even if I told you, Kute, when you walk out this door, you're going to turn left, you're going to take 10 steps down the hallway, you're going to make another left, you're going to go into the elevator. Now you're comfortable, now go do it. But when you take that step, somebody interrupts you in the hallway, they need a word of prayer from you or something, you change their life forever. So I couldn't have, what I'm saying is it's impossible for anyone to know how it's all going to end. It's impossible for somebody to approach life with a blueprint that never changes because life is all about change. Your next breath will change the next breath that will change the next breath. Those trillions of cells in our body are turning over every 24 hours. And they're interacting. And the miles of blood vessels that are going through our system right now that could wrap the world twice, we're not even aware of what they're doing, but they're doing it. There's something there leading, guiding, providing. Your father called it God. Your father called it the Holy Spirit. I call it the Holy Spirit. That's where my teachings came from. And when we log into that And when we start feeling that and knowing who we are and whose we are, you said earlier, me and my Father are one. That was the last prayer that Jesus prayed on the cross when he said, Father, let them be in me as I'm in you. So if we're in Christ as Christ is in God, we are everything.
Yeah.
We are, and I don't want to, I know you're very careful not to name certain things because you want to be open to everybody.
Yes.
And I do too. I agree. Call it the universe, call it whatever. But when I start thinking about that prayer and what Jesus did, saying that but praying to his Father, which none of his prayers ever went unanswered. They always resulted in a miracle. So the miracle in my life is that I'm in him as he's in God. And so if I'm seated there where nothing can harm me, nothing can hurt me, and all things work together for my good, and my footsteps are ordered, then I can relax. I may not know what the next footstep is. I may not be able to tell you what's at the top of the staircase, but I can at least see the next step. And I've got the faith to take the step because I know I'm in my Father. And my Father would do nothing to ever hurt me, but he's there to lead, guide, and teach me in all things. So I know when we get that and we take those steps with a confidence that we have a loving Father that would never hurt us and is always there for our betterment, with an unconditional loving Father. Imagine how much you love your child right now. You would do anything for him.
Anything.
You unconditionally love him. He can go poo-poo on your leg, which that happens. Which that happens, and you're going to love him just as much. And when life goes poo-poo on your leg, you know your Father loves you so much to never let that hurt you, but to always work for your best, always work out the best for you. Every footstep is ordered and all of that. And so I think our job is not to let life distract us, but to let us glean into that next step and have the faith and the confidence and knowing that you know, my mom says she's 83, I believe now. And you can ask everybody in this studio listening, she does not have one gray hair.
Wow.
She leads praise and worship at church, and she can just look at you and heal your soul.
Wow.
She could. You need to meet her if she's out and about before we take you to the airport. I'll have you meet her. But it's that life that I've seen her live and emulate, that her Father, her Heavenly Father, has never let her down. And our Father will never let us down. When you went from your father's house to your Father's house, your life changed. And no matter if you're from Tulsa, Oklahoma, or you're from anywhere but nowhere, Ghana, LA, India, doing the walk, like no matter where you are, he's there with you. And he's there to help lead and guide and teach you in all things. And we never teach anything new to anyone. We just remind them of who they are. And when you can resonate with that, the rest of your life falls into place. Because there is no expectation. There is no, unless I get here this way, I'm not going to be happy. Or unless I get there that way, I'm going to be happy. When you can be content with who you are and whose you are, right where you are, then everything else falls into place. It all happens for your good. So I love that. I have been so blessed already by your teachings. I feel like we could literally sit here for the next 2 or 3 hours, and I know this relationship didn't begin by accident, and I know it won't end by accident. I know it won't end on purpose. Let me put it that way. Tell me what you're doing in Bali. You're in about 3 or 4 weeks. You're going to Bali. And I purposely don't do research on anyone I interview because I want to ask you the questions that everybody else would want to know. So I understand that you've done this before, maybe a few times. Tell me what it is. Tell me the process you go through and how people can come there, tune in. Hopefully you broadcast it. Give me some information about that. That's very exciting to me.
Yeah. I want to give a bit of backstory.
Sure, of course.
So on that journey to India,
Yes.
when I was there, I found myself on the back of a train in the poorest state in India. And I was in a sardine can situation, jam-packed with some of the poorest people. I mean, if you were to sell everything they had, the net worth would be $10 to $15. And I was so close to suffering, human suffering. And I thought, wow, how is it that we can send people to the moon, and we have Ferraris and we have computers, but we can't barely feed people. And I remember seeing this woman with 3 kids, and one of the and the kids looked sick on the train. The train's moving 100 miles an hour, and one of the head of this kid was hanging kind of out of the train.
Oh my gosh.
Just kind of hanging there, and he was alive, but just, and it felt like if the kid fell off the train and died, nobody would care.
Nobody would miss him.
And I thought, my heart broke in that moment. Like, how is it we live in a world where so much abundance, and yet this kid is barely has anything? And my heart just broke. And I remember looking into this woman's eyes, the mother's eyes, and she was just barely there. And looked into her eyes, and she looked into my eyes, and I looked into her eyes. She looked at my, and for at least for me, there was a moment of oneness. There was some moment where, for me, something collapsed, and I realized that there was no separation. We were different ethnicities, different color, different what have you. But what was looking at me was looking at her, was looking at me, and there was only one of us looking. There was no me and her. There was just oneness looking at itself, and I just felt love. And maybe love is the inherent recognition of the oneness.
Right.
And I just felt love, and my heart just opened as I looked at her, and I wept, just feeling love in the midst of all of this suffering, And I thought, wow, as the train ride went on, I thought, wouldn't it be amazing if leaders were on this train? If the president of the United States, the head of Nike, Oprah, people in leadership positions were on this train, having an awakening experience. And how would that transform how they use their billions and money and resources and impact their tens of thousands of employees, because they have a platform to speak and impact humanity?
Right.
How would that impact? How would they make impact if they went through a transformation like I'm going through something?
Sure.
And I forgot about it. And then I came back and started my coaching, and years went by. And in 2006 or so, after building a coaching business that was quite successful, I had a vision to create a coaching process. This is separate from the Bali thing, but it's the lead up. I had a vision to create a coaching process for visionaries. And my soul said it's time to create that journey. And it was called the Liberation Experience. And what it was a 2-week journey, one-on-one. I take one person, a visionary leader, CEO type, someone who has some influence and impact. I take you to India. I take away your money. You have one pair of clothes. You have one backpack. You have one journal. You have nothing else, no idea where you're going. You sign your will in case you don't come back. You write letters to everyone in your life in case you don't come back. And you give me permission to do whatever is necessary to help transform you and free you from your patterns and your conditioning.
Wow.
It's the ultimate surrender.
Wow, yeah, of course.
And I didn't think anyone was going to go.
Right.
Long story short, one person came, next person came, I did 21 of these one-on-one journeys. One-on-one journeys, 21 in about 5 to 6 years. And then people said, can you create a group journey to India? And I thought, I don't know about it. I'm not feeling it. Then I ended up in Bali. Found myself in Bali through a sequence of events, and had such a gentle and transformational experience there. It was like Bali's the feminine, just stuff melted away. I don't even know, there's something in myself vibrationally shifted.
Sure.
And when I was on the plane, this was 2010-ish, when I was on the plane coming back, I got a vision. create a group process in Bali.
In Bali.
For visionaries, for leaders, for those people that if you feel a calling to impact humanity, if you feel a calling to share your gifts, if you know that you've been put on a planet for a purpose bigger than yourself, I was told that there were souls that would know. There were souls that would feel a calling and they would know that they were destined to go on this particular journey, and that this journey was going to be a soul preparation for them, to prepare them to fulfill their mission in this lifetime.
Sure.
Most people will not fulfill their true purpose or potential in this lifetime because of their conditioning and their fears and all of that stuff. And so that's when I got the download to create the journey. 12 days, an experiential, intensive seminar training without walls. I use Bali as the backdrop. And I take people through, it's different from my journey to India. I don't take away your money and what have you. Right. But I unplug you from the world for 12 days. Right. And I take you through a step-by-step methodical process that really is designed to help you identify your subconscious and your hidden blocks. That is designed to help heal the pain and the wounds of childhood that keep us conditioned. Because most of us, we think that we're free. Oh, I have free will. Right. Oh, I have free will. I can do. But most of us, the degree to which we're conditioned is the degree to which we're not free. And we think we have free will, but many of us, we're operating on a reaction to our childhood. That's right. And so I help people identify their conditioning. I help people free themselves and heal themselves from the pain of their childhood, the wounds that they're still carrying. I help people reconnect with parts of themselves that they've lost, those lost parts of themselves that we've learned to disown to function and survive. Right. And through the process, I help you realign with your true soul's purpose and give you the courage to truly live that again. And so it's the Boundless Bliss Bali journey is what it's called. And I launched it in 2011. In 15 years, I've done 24 of these journeys. Oh my gosh. 12 days with me, unplugged from the world. It's not a tour. It's unlike it's unlike any seminar or process on the planet in that it is a purification. It is a process of surrender and deep healing. And we've done 24 journeys. In 2024, I was told to stop doing the journeys, and that was it. 2025, I didn't do one. Didn't plan to do one again. September 2025, I got a message. The message was my mission with these journeys wasn't complete yet. And I was told in my meditation that there are a few souls. I resisted it, I'm going to be honest. I'm like, I'm done. I told everyone I'm done. I told the world I'm done. Right. But I was told that there were a few souls that I had a contract with that still needed to go on this journey. And that I was guided to offer it again in 2026. And so in 2026, June the 26th through July the 7th, about 6 weeks from now, a month from now, we're doing the next journey. We'll do one at the end of the year in December, but the next one is June the 26th through July the 7th. And I have seen people come on this journey ready to end their life, I bet, and find their souls again. I've seen people come on this journey, been so heartbroken that they've given up on love, find their hearts again. I've seen people come on this journey hating their parents and, blaming their parents, sure. Having the courage to forgive their parents again. Sure. I've seen people come on this journey just uninspired and just find their purpose again. And so I've seen real miracles happen, in many ways. And so for me, it's not a seminar. I don't even feel like I facilitate these journeys. I feel like I'm just used by the divine to facilitate the transformation that is needed for the souls. Maximum, we take 18 people. I keep it intentionally small because for me, you want the one-on-one time. My guarantee is that every single person, that they experience the freedom and transformation that their souls are seeking. and that their souls are guided to, you know. And I truly believe that every one of us, we have a gift, and every one of us, we have a calling, and every one of us have something to give the world. And by not giving that gift, the world is altered. By not giving that gift, the world is impacted. I think if Mandela didn't surrender and give his gift, if Jesus didn't surrender, if Muhammad Ali didn't surrender, if, you know, Bruce Lee didn't surrender, if Oprah didn't surrender, if Martin Luther King didn't surrender, the world would be so different. It would be profoundly altered. And so when I look at the world today, I feel an urgency. When I look at the world today, I feel as though everything that is happening in the world, the intensity on the planet, is an invitation. God, the world, is inviting each of us to step up, to activate our gifts, to step up and share our gifts, because the world is in need. And so, it's a profound journey that I'm blessed and privileged to facilitate.
How do people connect with you to enroll? Are there any seats left for June?
Yes, there's a few
can
seats.
They pre-enroll till for December?
There's a few seats left. There's a couple of seats left for June. So we're enrolling for June. We're also enrolling for December. www.boundlessblissbali.com. Go to the website. There is
Boundless Bliss
Bali. Bali.
Bali.
Bali.
Like in
com.
Bali.
Yeah.
Okay.
Boundlessblissbali.com. Go to the website, watch the video, apply, and then they go through an interview process. We really make sure that everyone that comes on the journey is deeply called and aligned and destined. Yeah. So we turn people away because we want to make sure that everyone comes into that room is meant to be there, you know.
I want to do something this in this last 10 minutes. When we were driving over here, we had a conversation about some things that I had experienced in life. And I think you gave me a little taste of maybe what you do with people at these levels. And so let me set it up this way. If you've ever been hurt by someone, and you find it hard to forgive that person, tell me how you've reframed my thoughts on that to put that into the words that you had told me about how they couldn't help it. And frame that, just give me a little taste of that. And I think this will help so many people. And if the conference is anything like this, which I know it's going to be a million times this, but if it's anything like this, everybody should be signing up today.
Well, yes. Just to be fair, I wouldn't say a conference, because a conference, in a conference you sit down, you kind of take notes. That just the Bali process it's a soul surgery, man.
A soul surgery. That's good.
It's a soul surgery, and it's kind of like I hate this analogy but if you go into a fire, stuff is going to burn away. There's no way to sit there and take notes.
There you go.
So the reason I say it's not a conference is it's a process that if you go through it with sincere intention, there's no way you cannot transform. And no one can sit there, take notes, sit on the sidelines. You're going to go through the surgery process and be transformed.
So instead of walking on the fire, you walk through the fire.
You walk through the fire.
And what's not supposed to be there is burned off.
And you become the fire.
Wow. Whoa. There you go.
That's what happens. Yeah. You become the fire.
There you go.
And then you're able to give the fire to the world.
Wow.
That's really what it's about.
Wow.
So yeah, we were having a conversation, and not to oversimplify it, but in many moments of my life, I have been challenged with certain people who have hurt me, who have betrayed me, who have, from my father to an ex-girlfriend to you name it, who have taken money from me. We've all been through some stuff.
I shared the pain that I had went through with some people in my life. Yeah.
And what I've seen is every one of us are conditioned. Just to set the story, every one of us are conditioned. We are all born free. Look at a child. They're full of love. They're full of the divine. You said we just
Right.
come from the divine. They're in touch
No
with
fear.
the divine. No fear. They jump on a table naked,
Curiosity.
sing, dance,
Yep.
give you a hug. Doesn't matter who you are.
Yep.
They're not like, oh, I don't want to
Yeah,
touch you.
yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah.
just like full of love.
Right.
They're unconditioned, pure divine essence expressing.
Yes.
We're born into a preset framework of conditioning. Our parents, they're just doing the best that they know how to do based on their parents and their conditioning. So they have their own wounds. But then there's the generational patterns of grandparents and grandparents and ancestral energies that we're now born into. So some of that is playing out. So now we're born into a preset script and pattern. Right. And maybe that is crazy. Maybe mom is an alcoholic and they have their belief system.
Right.
So as children, two things happen. The first thing is we learn all sorts of strategies to shut down, disconnect, and not feel. And we suppress our feelings. We suppress the pain. We suppress the hurt. We suppress the helplessness. We suppress and suppress and suppress and suppress. And before you know it, our true authentic essence and our true authentic light gets hidden underneath the layers and the mountain of resentment, pain, hurt, shame, guilt. And that light doesn't always get out.
Right.
Inside of every single human being, Hitler, Escobar, Mandela, Jesus, Buddha, Mother Teresa, Putin, Trump, you name it, is the same light. That light is not always shining as brightly,
Right.
depending on the level of pain, hurt, conditioning, trauma.
Right. That was in their life.
That was in their physical human experiences.
Yes.
And the conditioning and what they were taught to believe and not believe.
Yes.
So now, first thing is we learn also sort of strategies to shut down, disconnect, not feel, covering up our light. Then we learn all sorts of strategies to contort ourselves to become who we think we need to be to get mom and dad's love.
Love. Uh-huh.
So, I become the perfect son. I become the know-it-all. I become
Right.
the caretaker. I just, I become the funny person. And so now we've contorted ourselves into a shape of avoiding pain and becoming who we think we need to be. So we start developing all sorts of roles and masks and personas. And now we become a version of ourselves that we think is who we are. No, this is just who I am. This is this is who I am. I'm
Right.
this way.
Right.
So now we're living inside of a prison of a persona, not realizing that the version of ourselves that we've become is not who we really are. It's just a conditioned pattern that has been reinforced through life, through parents, through religion, through education, through schooling, through siblings, through success and failures, through heartbreaks. And now we're holding so tightly to this version of ourselves, which is a collection of memories, thoughts, belief systems, that we now think this is me. That's called ego. Ego is the degree to which we are identified with the version of ourselves that is a collection of memories, thoughts, and belief systems.
Right.
So inside of that prison of ego, we are trapped and we are locked. And the degree to which we believe ourselves to be that is the degree to which we have no freedom.
Right.
We can't help ourselves.
Right.
We are not free. We are just being run by a script. We're being run by our beliefs. We're being run by our conditioning. We are just pre-programmed, not even knowing that we're programmed, and we can't help it.
By a program that was handed down generationally,
parents, or
Right.
through the first 7 years of our life, first 10 years of our life.
which they couldn't help.
They couldn't help because they're programmed and they didn't
They
know
were
they're
born into that
programmed.
one, yep.
And the programming just continues and
Yep.
continues and continues,
Yep.
generation upon generation upon generation. This whole
Right.
play of life continues.
Right.
And so now if someone is locked in this programming and they don't even know they're locked in this programming because they think this is who I am and this is what I really believe
Right.
and my beliefs are who I am, then you can't really help act how you act.
Right.
Because with those set of beliefs, you're going to act a certain way. And because you believe those things to be real, then you're going to take a certain set of actions. White people are this way. Black people are this way. Women are this way. Children are this way. Chinese people are that way.
Right.
Indian people are that way.
Right.
Muslim people are this way.
Learned behavior.
Belief systems.
Yep.
And so based on that contracted conditioning and set of belief systems, we do what we do. So when I started looking at people that hurt me, and I started to reflect over the years, what must they believe to have done that thing to me? What must George Floyd's killer?
Right.
Man, it's wrong. He killed George Floyd. It's bad. What did he have to believe to be in such a state that he killed George Floyd? He would have to believe some pretty limited stuff.
Right.
But it's wrong. I'm not saying it's right what he did. But what did he have to believe?
Right.
And if I believed what he believed, I would do what he did. But you might say, well, I don't kill anyone. Because you don't believe what he believed.
Yeah. You didn't grow up in that belief system.
You didn't grow up with that belief system,
Yeah.
that indoctrination,
That's
that
right.
brainwashing,
That's
that
right.
conditioning, that parent.
From the people you love the most, your parents, your
Right,
teachers,
right.
your priests, whoever
everyone.
it was. Yep.
And now you're pre-programmed,
Right.
hypnotized, brainwashed.
You have to believe that way.
So if you're now locked inside of a prison of a belief system that you believe is reality, what I saw was he can't help himself. He should help, but he can't help himself.
Right.
When I got that he can't help himself, believing that, it freed up something inside of me to be able to, it's like, what kind of pain must he be in that he can't even help himself? How limited is he that he can't even help? He doesn't have the choice. And I guess I felt the compassion for his helplessness. I felt the compassion for his pain. I'm not saying it didn't hurt, but I felt the compassion, and it enabled me to more increasingly see the innocence in everyone is innocent. Everyone at the core is innocent. To see that child in him that is innocent. We were like being with my 3-year-old now is like, we were all like that once.
Right.
Until we were brainwashed with certain belief systems that, black people are bad, white people are bad, Asian people are this way, these people are that way. Someone brainwashed us, but we were also, Hitler was innocent once.
Right.
And so we lose touch with that. And so for me, seeing that everyone is innocent at the core, freed up the sense of compassion for the person. So that doesn't mean there's not accountability.
Of course.
That doesn't mean you may not have to take them to prison.
Of
That
course.
doesn't mean you don't have to, that doesn't mean you're friends with them. That doesn't mean you don't take them to court.
Right.
But to be able to do so with the compassion.
Yep.
You don't have to lose that compassion and the love in your heart whilst you even take the actions you need to take. To still, even while saying, hey, got to send you to prison, but I'm still going to see the divine in you. When Jesus on the cross said, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they do. They don't know what they did. They can't. Basically, he was saying he had the code. He said,
Right.
They can't help themselves, man. They just can't help it.
Right.
So forgive them. If they can't help it, forgive them.
Right.
My 3-year-old can't help do some things, do certain things. He can't help it.
Right.
They can't help it. And if you can get that they can't help it based on those beliefs, you may set your boundaries. You might not speak to them. All of those things, but you can still hold the compassion and the love and the divinity of who they are inside your heart. And I think that's the freedom. That's the beauty. Everybody is innocent at the deepest level.
Right.
You know.
And if you see it that way, you can never judge. You can never think harmful things about anyone.
Yeah.
Because at the core, they're innocent.
At the core, they're innocent. At the core, that child, no child, Hitler, King Leopold, name anyone. No child came out of the womb going, I hate black people, I hate white people, I hate Jews.
Yeah.
No child, every child came out like,
I love everybody.
I am love.
Yeah.
Until someone started indoctrinating them.
Right.
See,
Right.
those people,
Right.
this people, that people, this way. And now the belief systems and the identification starts. And that's what we believe.
So people ask, how can we change the world? This is how we can change the world. If everybody really understood what you just said and could look at everybody else with that sense of compassion, let their rage, let their passion turn to compassion, and love the person for
Love the
that
soul.
innocent person that they really are, that soul, the cellular in them. If they can love that person at that level, then they start acting differently, and the things that may have confined them that they were born into start to break away.
It's the loving, it's the innocence, the compassion.
When you were talking about, Christ, and I told you my father was a pastor, so I grew up in this, reading the Bible. We were interdenominational, all of that. But when you were saying that about Christ, I was thinking that expression on the cross when he looked to both sides and said, Father, forgive them. They don't even know what they're doing. The two people who were there dying with him, he said, today you'll be with me in paradise. They didn't have to jump around 3 times and hold their tongue a certain way and say 3 magic words. Because I think in the Bible where it says, for God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that whomsoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. I think when he forgave everybody on the cross, that was a physical sign of a spiritual awakening that he forgave everybody in the world.
Let me share. Can I share a story real quick?
Please.
So when I was 21, 18, I didn't speak to my father for 3 years. I was pissed. I was mad because he didn't see me. He didn't honor me. I was mad at him. He was never there for me. He was all of this stuff.
Right.
And I went through a process of forgiving my father. And we're 22, 23. We're cool. Overall we're okay, but we weren't super close.
Right.
2017, my mother passed away. Very deep process for me. I got to spend a year with my mother. The best year of my life. When the doctor said to my mother, you're going to die, so get your affairs in order. I was there in the hospital room.
Wow.
And I wept. I'm like, I'm never going to see my mom again. The moment is coming.
Yeah, right.
But, you
You're
don't
never
think
prepared
you're
for
never
it.
prepared for it.
No.
And I'm like, wow, my mother's never going to meet my kids. My wife, there's so many things I wanted to do with my mother that I didn't do.
Right.
This is just a side note. I would say, everyone listening, if your mother's still alive,
Go love her.
just call them up. Call her up. Drop the shit. Call her.
Right,
Call
right,
her up.
right.
Forget. Because the only regret I have in my life is not spending more time with her. And I looked my mother in the eyes, outside of the hospital room, and I said, "Are you afraid?" She said, "No, I'm not afraid because I know that this body is just a temporary vehicle for my soul, and I'll be guiding you from the other side." And I said, "What can I do for you?" As your son, I felt like I was not a good son. I was a good son, but I could have done so much more if I just knew this death thing was real,
Right.
We're told, but let me do it again.
Right.
It's too late. What can I do for you? Where can I take you? What can I buy you? She says, I don't need anything. I said, okay. The only thing I want or the only thing I need is what God wants for my life. And in that moment, I realized she was completely surrendered.
Right.
She wasn't attached to living. She wasn't attached to dying. She was free.
Wow.
Completely free.
Wow.
In that moment.
Wow.
And so when she died, there was a lot of grief I had, man. And I was moving through the grief, and my heart exploded open with more love. And I spoke to my mother on the other side. I had a conversation with her. And I said to my mother, because she's 10 years younger than my father, why did you die first? She looked at me from the other side, symbolically.
Right.
And she said, I died first to remove myself so that you could have the complete mental, emotional, spiritual, and karmic healing with your father.
Oh my gosh.
So do it.
Wow.
And I realized in that moment what she meant. Because I thought, my father's good, but you know what, man? It takes two to tango.
Right.
You know where I'm
Right.
at, bro.
Right. You can call me just like I can call you.
Call me. So we'd go 6 months without speaking.
Right.
Call me up, man. You want to have a relationship? You're my dad.
Right. Right.
The moment I heard my mother say that in my heart, I dropped everything. I said, you know what? I'm completely forgiving my father. Because if I believe what he believed, and if I grew up how he grew up without a father who cheated, a father who left, a father who did,
You would have done the same thing.
I would have done the same thing.
Wow.
And the truth is, my father couldn't help it, and he doesn't have the capacity.
Right.
He doesn't. I want my father to have the capacity that he doesn't have. It's like wanting a midget to
Slam
dunk, but he just doesn't have the capacity. We're cool with the midget not slam dunking, but I'm not cool with my father not loving me, but he's not capable. I had to realize that my father was not capable, and it wasn't about me. And I spent my whole life wanting him to be capable and wanting to be something that he just isn't. And I wasn't open to what he was able to give me. I wasn't open to his gifts. I wasn't open to his blessing. I wasn't open to whatever he was able to transmit to me, because I wanted him to give me what I wanted.
Right.
In that moment, realizing why my mother left early, I just dropped everything. And I completely forgave him. I saw his innocence.
Yeah.
I saw he just did the best he could,
Right.
with what he had.
Right.
And I made the decision. Okay, my father has not been the best father in the human form, but that's made me who I am. Okay, my father's not been the best father in human form, but the truth is, I have not been the best son. I've been a worse son to my father. And so I decided that until the day he died, I was going to call him every single day of his life, because if I said, do I love my father? Yeah. Well, if I love him, then just love him. Doesn't matter if he responds. If I love him, then just love him, so that when that moment comes when he is going, which he will, I have no regrets. And I started calling him every day. Wow. Dropped all expectation. Dad, how are you? This is 6 months, no call, every day. Dad, how are you? Dad, did you drink your protein powder? Doesn't matter what we talk. It doesn't. The content of the conversation doesn't matter. What matters is the frequency.
You connected.
Is the energy. Is the transmission. I love you. How you doing? And I basically traveled for 5 years, 3 times a year to Ghana, for 5 days to sit with my father and just be with him. Doesn't really matter the conversation, just to be together.
Right.
And a profound healing started happening. I started falling in love with my father as he was. He started falling in love with me. This man who did not remember my birthdays.
Oh my gosh.
I can't remember. When he was maybe 2 birthdays he was at. And one of those birthdays was at the church where he was doing the party for himself to show everyone how much he loved me. Not for me.
Right.
Right. My 18th birthday, he wanted to throw a big party to show everyone. I said, I don't want a big party. What do you want? You, my mom, and me in a restaurant.
Yeah.
What? That's it.
Right.
So here's this man starts calling me up now on my birthday. Out of the blue, singing to me on my birthday.
Oh my gosh.
And so there was such a healing that happened between us. I realized that his father abandoned him, so he abandoned. And the cycle continued. And I realized I have to break this cycle. And there's something that happens when you, me, you, when we can give grace when someone doesn't deserve the grace, a profound spiritual healing occurs.
Right.
And my father didn't deserve the grace, but I gave him the grace.
Right.
Because I had every right to say, you weren't there for me, I'm not going to be there for you,
Right.
which some of his other kids did. But there was such a healing that happened in 5 years. And in that 5 years, that cleared the way for my wife to come into my life.
No kidding.
That allowed energetically
my
wife to show up. Then my wife got pregnant. It cleared the way, the healing of the generation, cleared the way for my son to come. The moment my son was conceived, something said, go back to Ghana in October. I was going to go in December. And I told my father, he was the first person I told. And he said, I had a feeling, I had a vision, you were going to have a child, a son. So I'm not surprised. I told my wife, and I said, he will not be alive to see the son. She said, no. A month later, he was gone. But that's when I knew that the karma, the healing was complete between my father and I.
Right.
And one generation going out, a new generation coming in. And my son was born 8 months later. And that's when I looked at him and I saw that I had freed my son
Yes.
from the karma
Yes.
and the lineage
Yes.
and the pain.
Yes.
And so I feel this is the part of the work that we are here to do.
Oh my gosh.
We are here to forgive.
Right.
You know, we are here to heal. We are here to transform. And, you know, you talked about change the world. The world that we see out here is really a mirror manifestation of the collective consciousness of the totality of all of us combined. So we look at the leaders, we look at Trump, we look at Biden, we look at Putin, we look at whoever it is. I don't care what people believe.
Right.
But you see with the leaders out there, you look at the wars out there, it's easy to point the finger and go, my dad, my mom,
Yeah.
Biden, this person,
Right.
that person. But the truth is, it's all a reflection. I think we all, if we want to change the world, we have to have the courage to change ourselves and ask ourselves, where do I live out of integrity?
Yeah.
This person, where do I lie?
Right.
Where do I drop bombs
Right.
of self-hatred
Right.
inside of my own self?
Right.
Where do I betray myself?
Right.
Epstein files. But yeah, what files am I, what secrets am I hiding
That's right.
that I don't want anyone to know?
Why did that bother me so much?
Why did that bother me so much, right?
Yeah.
And so I think if we're willing to take responsibility, own the projection, then we dissolve the separation and we come into oneness. And when we shift, the whole fabric and energy and consciousness of the planet
the world
shifts.
shifts, yeah.
And then we, in our essence and our beingness, are a contribution to humanity. And I think that's the invitation for us all.
I don't know if I can take any more of this. That was wonderful. You summed it up so beautifully. Like I said, this should be a conference for anyone to attend. I hope people get a hold of you soon, quickly. I know you wrote a couple of books. You did not ask me to do this, but I just want to share this with our audience. There are 2 books out now that Kute has written. We will put this in the show notes, but one is You Are the One, and one is The Magic of Surrender, right here. You Are the One, The Magic of Surrender. You're going to have to sign these. Give me 30 seconds on You Are the One. Why did you write it? What does it say?
It's all about purpose, finding your purpose in life, finding your true calling and living that. Most of us, we're waiting for someone to do it for us, you know, and I say no one's coming. You're it.
You're the one. Yeah. Finding your purpose. Give me 30 seconds on that.
This is all about surrender. I think surrender is the most powerful thing that we can do. Surrender is the real secret to manifestation, the real key to greatness. It's the password to freedom. You look at any great human, they all at some point surrendered themselves. And life was able to use them in ways that they could not have even imagined. That's the magic of surrender. We all want the magic, but none of us want to surrender. But the next level of your life requires the next level of you. The next level of you requires that you let go of what's no longer aligned. And so in the surrender, you open yourself to the more.
And just like in your story, you went out with all of your greatness, everything that you had been trained to do, tried your hardest, but it wasn't until you surrendered that you found your calling.
Yes.
And then doors opened.
Life unfolded.
And you wound up in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
It's good to
on
be
the
here.
Soak podcast. Thank you so much for coming, and it was truly an honor and a pleasure having this time with you.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your time with us today. After you've subscribed at Soak Podcast, please leave us your questions and comments. Remember, your frequency is what you think about most frequently. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.